23rd of August, 1973, actually, a general strike shut down all the railroads in the country. And then they shut down all the ferries running between North Sydney and Port-au-Basque. Think of it now. It's the last week of summer, and thousands of vacationers are trying to get back to their homes. Boy, there was some upset. Besides that, there were 35 tractor-trailer loads full of fresh food, produce, that was stranded aboard the ferries when they were tied up. And it wasn't long before a shortage of food hit most stores across the province. But the real store was in Port-au-Basque. Most of the workforce in Port-au-Basque was employed by the railway, and they also operated the ferries that stranded the tourists in the first place. And that may explain why the whole town, actually the whole southwest coast, opened their arms to the weary travelers. A combination of natural hospitality and a guilty conscience. By the time I got there, over 1,600 tourists and 475 cars, they were mostly mainlanders, were jammed into Port-au-Basque. It was the end of their vacation. Most of them were getting low on food and on money. A key factor in the people's mood was the weather. It started off bad, some say typical in the Port-au-Basque area. Well, here's the way I explained it back then.
Since the strike began last Thursday night, that particular night there was a very bad thunderstorm that scared a lot of visitors silly. They said it's the worst they've seen in a long time. But since then, like this, sunshine, a few clouds, a nice cool breeze blowing, and the tourists here kind of think this is the kind of weather all year round, and one hates to think but what might have happened if they had had a week or so of rain, drizzle, and fog, with people camped out like here today in John P. Cheeseman Park. We're only a few miles from Port-au-Basque. There are several hundred more camped along the road in Port-au-Basque. It would have been a miserable time, and their moods would have changed completely.
The strike not bothering you too much? Not a bit. We'll stay here forever. A week to 10 days. Without worrying about a thing. How about you? Same thing. Where are you from? State. New York. Uncasville, Connecticut. Uncasville, Connecticut, right. Good time? Oh, yeah, the best. You know what I say? 6 dozen one, half each of the other. You don't care when you leave? No, I don't care when I leave. The mood of the people here is very good. Very good, yeah, but I think it's a dirty trick to play on the people, though. And it hurts the tourists. Quite a bit. Hurts the tourist industry in Newfoundland? Quite a bit, yeah. I know a lot of people I talk to every day don't think they'll ever come back.
The chimpanzees are very difficult. We have 5 chimpanzees, and they eat special zoo food, what we get sent to us from place to place, you know, and as I say, we're down on that. And the bear is quite a problem. He's used to these special bear cakes that's made again by the zoo companies, you know. And this is very difficult. It seems that the animals always get a rough deal ever since the world began.
How much longer do you think you can hold out here?
Well, like I say, we're right down low now. We're going out right now to look for food for the animals and get substitutes for the real stuff.
Do you expect to come back to Newfoundland sometime?
Well, I'd like to. I'd like to come around under better circumstances. I find the people here have been awful nice.
Once the money begins to run out, the situation's going to be desperate. Right now, you know, from what I can see, you know, you've got the best of the situation. The general situation in the whole Port-au-Basque area can only deteriorate from here on in as people get more and more desperate in terms of time, in terms of money.
Same as my husband. I'll never be back again. First time I've ever been. You meet something like this and it sure puts you off. Wouldn't be so bad if you could get the boats moving. But why should we suffer just because of a strike? I mean, what's the water got to do with it? How else are we going to go? We're going to go by water. And here we sit while everybody sits on their ass and does nothing about it.
The government is useless.
The government's useless. For them to sit on their fannies for this long, it's ridiculous. I mean, I was talking to the union guys here, and 3 weeks ago they knew this was going to happen. They could have given us a chance. They could have said we were going to close everything down in a week or 2 days or 3 days, and hell, I would have been here.
North Sydney was blocked off with Newfoundlanders trying to get home. They were not happy campers. They felt like their own people had turned on them by shutting down the ferries.
They said Trans-Canada goes from Newfoundland to British Columbia. And how can they say that's to Trans-Canada if they won't get it for profit?
And you can't get home. It's pretty damn bad, I'm telling you.
I think one of the first pieces of legislation we ought to pass is to immediately determine that no strikes interfere with any island in Canada, either PEI or Newfoundland. I think it ought to become part of the Trans-Canada, and by no means should be cut off.
I'll never have any love for a union again, that's for sure.
Where are you staying when you're here?
I'm staying right here.
In Tampa or?
Right here.
Here.
Yeah.
Where do you sleep nighttime?
I think the Salvation Army's a lot sweating. The devil looks at it in the world. I've never seen anyone move as quick. I wish the government moved half as quick.
Back in Port aux Basques, the Legion branch in Channel gave free meals to hundreds of people every day. The Lions Club provided beds for hundreds more. And T.J. Hardy's fish plant provided fresh fish. Those tractor-trailer drivers raided their own trucks to donate more food. And striking union members took dozens of families into their homes. And so it went for the 10-day strike until ferry service resumed on the Labor Day weekend, 2nd of September, 1972. Well, that was some experience. You know, in my diary from those days, and in the script for this original half-hour show, there's one impression that still lasts until now. And that is the number of mainland tourists who told me. They said, we were so angry when this thing started. But after we got to know the people in Channel Port aux Basques and the other South Coast communities that took them in, and they said that turned out to be the best part of their vacation. I'm Ken Meeker. I hope you'll come back here next September to remember when.